Switching gears, the daggers are out and it's open warfare as Democrats advance their push for impeachment. Speaker Pelosi opening fire yesterday, accusing President Trump of a cover-up. She's doubling down today, questioning his fitness for office.
Another temper tantrum. Again, I pray for the President of the United States. I wish that his family or his administration or his staff would have an intervention for the good of the country.
Name me one problem they have solved. Name me one item that they've focused on. The one item they focused on is the impeachment of the president, even when the facts aren't there.
Marianne Marsh is a former senior advisor to John Kerry. Colin Reed is a former Senate campaign manager for Scott Brown, both from the Great Bay State. So good to have you both here. Marianne, let me start with you. Obviously, I've known and followed Nancy Pelosi for a long time when she was Speaker the first time around and now this time. She's a person that calculates and strategizes and chooses words very carefully. Is there a reason, in your mind, that she continues to suggest that there's some sort of a problem with the president, right? She keeps going back at this. Do you think that she thinks that pushes buttons that make him react?
Well, first of all, excuse me, if Nancy Pelosi says she's going to pray for you, that means you're dead already, you just don't know it. So what she said today is she basically said, he's in crisis. He's committed a crime. He's not in control. He might need to take a leave of absence. There may be a need for an intervention. All of those things, when you just lift up the hood a little bit, she is sending messages to bait Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is taking the bait every single time. And that's the problem here.
Colin, let me ask you, Colin, at some point, will the Democrats figure out a way to show other evidence, if they supposedly have it, that the Mueller report didn't show?
Well, I don't know, and they better at this rate. But here's the thing. I give Nancy Pelosi credit for thus far being able to keep the wolves at bay when it comes to impeachment. But this is the week where she finally lost control, and it's no longer just kind of the more fringe elements of the Democratic Party calling for impeachment. It's like the Democratic policy chair in the House. So this is no longer something that can just be swept under the rug. It's something she's going to have to deal with. And I think you saw her yesterday recognize that by throwing them a bone by saying what she said.
Marianne, how do Democrats and Speaker Pelosi factor in the American people's sentiment about this? We have new polls, Monmouth University showing that 52% feel Democrats in Congress should move on from the Mueller report. A similar number in the CBS News poll, 53% saying that Democrats should continue to investigate the president. Now, that is up a little bit. And then you have 73% of Democrats saying move on, to do it, but the majority of the country, up into 60% in some polls, saying that we've had enough of this. So how does that factor into the politics here?
Look, Nancy Pelosi, as you said at the top, is very, very shrewd, and she's looking at these polls. And the common denominator in all these polls are the more Americans learn about the Mueller investigation and other misdeeds by Donald Trump, the more they want him held accountable and they want him to cooperate. That's her calculation here. She is firmly in control of her caucus. She's letting people who want to impeach Trump now say it. She's letting people who don't want to do that now or may want to do so later say that. She's letting her committee chairmen do all the work that they need to do, and she's being paid off now by the fact that these decisions are coming in. TD Bank, Deutsche Bank's on deck, Wells Fargo, all turning over tens of thousands of pages of documents, financial documents about Trump that they did not have before. The longer this goes and the more information's out there, the public will be clamoring and demanding that Congress holds Donald Trump accountable, and that's exactly where she's going.
Colin, do you think that that's the case, that people are waiting for that?
Well, there's a reason that the chairperson of the DCCC is against impeachment, and that's because she knows that next year the Democrats have 31 seats in Trump-held districts, formerly Trump-held districts, that they're going to have to defend. And if their message is impeach and investigate, and that's all they have to show for their 2 years of control of Congress, that's a message that the Republicans feel very comfortable carrying with it. So the divide is going to grow, but ultimately, when you look at these members in former Trump districts, these Democrats are not talking about impeachment. They're talking about health care, or they're talking about the minimum wage, or all the issues they campaigned on last year. And they don't want to talk about impeachment because they know it's a loser in their district. So
and it looks like, Marianne, that if they're already at an impasse and we're just entering into Memorial Day weekend, that's a long time to go between now and November of 2020. And to Kevin McCarthy's point, or let's just take it from the average citizen looking back, saying, Washington, we can't get anything done ever. So what do you campaign on if impeachment isn't popular, but you have to try to run again?
Well, here's what Kevin McCarthy got wrong. I don't know where he was, but the House has passed 100 bills already on health care, on prescription drugs, on gun safety, on election security. It is the Senate who's declined to do anything until about 15 minutes ago when they agreed to finally vote on disaster aid. Even disaster aid has become political. So the House is doing everything it's supposed to do and holding Trump accountable. They're doing their job.
But Colin, former Speaker Paul Ryan used to blame the Senate too.
Yeah, and that was not a very compelling argument. It's kind of lost outside of most people. And the other thing, Dana, that we haven't talked about is this whole impeachment battle this week, it's played out just at the House level. Wait till next June, or I guess this June, 6 weeks from now, when there's the first Democratic debate, and one of these Democratic candidates come and pours gas on this simmering fire and blows the impeachment thing out of the water, and then it's going to totally consume the entire national conversation.
Colin Reed, that's quite a visual that you just painted here. All right, but we'll have you back to talk about that. Marianne Marsh and Colin Reed, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.